Fairness failures rarely show up in average accuracy. You only see them when you slice results by meaningful groups and scenarios. This AiQualtest episode gives product, engineering, risk, and quality teams a practical, vendor-neutral playbook for bias and fairness testing in 2026. Use a simple operating loop: slice, measure, compare, and act. That loop keeps conversations concrete when stakeholders disagree about quality or risk. Why this matters: enterprises face legal, reputational, and customer trust exposure when AI outcomes differ unfairly across populations. Fairness testing turns vague ethics goals into measurable release criteria. It also produces evidence for risk reviews and vendor diligence. Enterprises shipping AI into banking, insurance, healthcare, and digital operations cannot rely on hallway demos. Buyers, auditors, and internal second-line risk partners ask for repeatable methods, version artifacts, and clear ownership. If you cannot explain how you tested and what evidence you keep, you do not have AI quality, you have optimism. Core concepts come next. Do not memorize jargon, operationalize each idea into cases, metrics, and gates. Concept 1: Slice design. Define subgroups and scenario proxies carefully and lawfully. Avoid collecting protected attributes without a clear purpose and control. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 2: Outcome metrics. Track error rates, refusal rates, and recommendation differences across slices. Choose metrics tied to harm. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 3: Counterfactual probes. Swap demographic or proxy cues in otherwise identical cases. Watch for unjustified output shifts. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 4: Thresholds. Set action thresholds with legal and product partners. Not every gap is equally severe. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 5: Mitigation loops. Fix data, prompts, retrieval, or policy, not only the model. Retest after each change. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Concept 6: Documentation. Record known limitations and residual risk. Transparency beats silent averages. In practice, treat this as a measurable property: define what good looks like, attach evidence, and track it across model, prompt, data, and tooling changes. Here is a real-world pattern. Setting: lending institution evaluating an underwriting assist model used by credit officers. Overall approval assist accuracy looked strong, but slice tests showed higher false declines for certain zip code proxies correlated with protected classes. The team paused expansion, added counterfactual probes, and adjusted feature use with compliance. Residual risk was logged in the risk register with compensating human review. The next audit package included slice metrics and mitigation notes. Notice the pattern: define scope, run controlled tests, capture evidence, decide with named owners, and feed failures back into the next cycle. That is how AI quality becomes a system property, not a slide. Common mistakes slow mature programs. Mistake 1: reporting only overall accuracy as proof of fairness. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 2: collecting sensitive attributes without governance or purpose limitation. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 3: treating fairness as a one-time pre-launch checkbox. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. Mistake 4: ignoring refusal and escalation rate disparities. Teams that skip this create silent risk that surfaces in production or audits. The antidote is discipline: small goal sets, explicit thresholds, change control, and monitoring that connects production incidents back to evaluation suites. Key takeaways for your team. Takeaway 1: fairness requires sliced measurement, not averages alone. Takeaway 2. Align probes and thresholds with legal and product owners. Takeaway 3. Mitigate via system design, then retest. Takeaway 4. Document residual risk for audits. Write these into your team wiki and release checklist so they survive staffing changes. Your next steps this week: define 3 high-harm slices and metrics for your primary AI workflow. Then, add a fairness slice pack to the pre-release gate with named owners. Keep the artifacts, prompts, datasets, scores, approvals so you can defend the decision later. Where this fits the AiQualtest method, learn the foundations with AiVELabs, practice with hands-on cases, and validate with governed evaluation evidence. Visit AiQualtest.com and learn.aiqualtest.com. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for weekly AI quality, evaluation, and governance episodes. Additional depth for practitioners: treat bias and fairness testing as a controlled experiment. Version the inputs, freeze the environment where possible, record who approved exceptions, and rerun after every material change, model upgrade, prompt edit, retrieval index refresh, or tool permission change. Pair quality metrics with latency, cost, and safety signals so trade-offs are visible to product owners. When results regress, open an incident-style review even if the feature still looks fine in a demo. Governed teams prefer boring, evidence-backed releases over surprising wins that cannot be